Greetings everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm your host Captain Ryan. Today's YouTube video has got me once again back in the tier 10 French battle cruiser, the Henri. Yes, I know that's right, there's no Fletcher game this week, but there is yet more Henri, and that's partly due to the fact that the previous week I really did not have very good teams or very good games outright. Really struggling to do well in my Fletcher, or even really in any ship, with the exception of the Scharnhorst and the Henri. And since I figured the Henri was a new beast and behemoth in my port, I figured I'd play that a lot more, and I got a lot of really good battles as a result of it. As the battle gets underway, it's heaven, it's domination match mode, and it is obviously a tier 10 game. Now, there are carriers in the game, but they are lower tier, they're not tier 10 carriers, which is really going to play an important factor at the end of this battle. Now, I'm using the islands here for cover, but I am detected. That's partly due to air. I do have priority target because I need to know how many people are targeting me. If you're in a cruiser, it really does help to know that, especially to determine whether or not you think you can angle and survive, or whether or not you should probably motor on out of there. Took some shots off at the Yamato early on. Not sure if I really managed to hit him. Definitely didn't do as much damage as I would have liked to have. Taking shots at that North Carolina off in the distance, you'll notice that he was completely naked, which is kind of an interesting choice for that, but I do manage to set him on fire, and that's gonna burn for a little bit unless he puts that out right away. Now, if he does put that out right away, that could be a serious problem for him, and it looks like, yes, based on the damage counter, he did put that fire out right away. Now, that could be a serious problem for him if RNGesus praises me and I can land a couple more fires. That means he would be burning from stem to stern for at least 40 seconds. But no, RNGesus is not going to give me that luck, as all of those shots miss. And I'm forced to duck behind these islands for additional cover. Still being detected, that's partly due to the aircraft, but of course I'm still being targeted as well. So as I come out from behind this island, I do need to be careful that I'm not taking too many shots in there. Now, remember in previous videos I had mentioned that battleship captains tend to have a very difficult time actually hitting this ship, even when it's broadside on, because it moves so quickly. Look at all those shots coming in there, falling short. Of course, if you look at my speed there, I'm going something like 40 knots, even with maneuvering. Now, I drop off of detectability as I get behind this island. I'm far enough back behind this island that I can fire my shots over it, which is good for me. And of course, I do have to keep an eye on the ships that are up past the island up there, as well. As they come around the island there, they can spot me as I fire off my main battery guns, and of course that ends up being the case. And they do spot me as they come around that island there. So I think it's the Yamato that's actually spotting me. That's one of the disadvantages to having gun range so long, is that pretty much anytime you fire anybody within line of sight, no matter how far away they are, no matter how big of a threat they are, is going to be able to spot you, and that means bigger threats can return fire. Now, I'm trying to set this Bismarck on fire. I did manage to set him on fire earlier, and I managed to set another battleship on fire as well. So, trying to set him on fire, can I do it? Yes, I managed to set him on fire, and that's probably going to burn because I'm pretty sure he recently extinguished his fire. And that's going to be good for me. Now I'm moving forward again, getting up here, using these islands for cover. I really contemplated about sitting behind that island for a little bit longer, but decided not to, partly because there was a Yamato out here in the distance who, albeit he is turning around, but he can still get his angry large caliber guns downrange, and even though I was bow on, don't want to risk it. And here come shots in from him as well. Slam on the brakes, start trying to reverse here, and fortunately for me, all of those miss as they fall just short of me. Do manage to set that Yamato on fire a few times, but I don't know if he's going to be able to repair that fire anytime soon. From the looks of it, though, that fire is burning nicely for at least a little bit. Enemy Benson up here managing to try and push up and challenge the C cap point. The enemy team is managing to capture the B cap point, and they do manage to secure it, but you'll notice that they're way down on ships. They're down 2 of their 4 destroyers, and they're down 2 other ships as well. So that's going to be a significant problem for them as they try to secure the C cap point. Now, they do have an advantage here at the C cap point, is they've got a Benson up here who's loading smokescreen, and I'm having a hard time hitting him. But they also have a Tirpitz up here who's come around this island. Now, initially, those torpedoes that I fired, they looked like they were aimed at the Benson. They weren't actually aimed at the Tirpitz, but the Tirpitz slammed on his brakes, so those shots miss. I'm going to go ahead and risk a broadside to all of these angry ships up here to try and get my ship turned around so that I actually can get my torpedoes off on the other side. Switch over to the armor-piercing rounds and fire off at that Hindenburg there. But I'm actually firing off the armor-piercing rounds mostly because this Tirpitz here is going to come around this island basically broadside onto me. And the 240mm armor-piercing at this kind of range, even on a German battleship, is going to do some significant damage. I get torpedoes off there, but I think I shorted them a little bit. And yeah, it looks like those are going to hit that Tirpitz as he manages to speed up there. Unfortunately, the gun rotation on the turret being particularly slow and the full broadside effect that I was hoping to get, not quite going to get around here. But as you can see there, did put a significant amount of hurt on him with some good penetrations onto that Tirpitz, onto the broadside, something that you really don't see too often in cruisers, even at these kinds of ranges with those 208mm guns. And while I didn't get any citadels, the penetrations that I did have did do a reasonable amount of damage. Now, I've still got the armor-piercing loaded. I fire off at the Hindenburg again, who is out there broadside on. I do manage to hit him, cause him a little bit of damage, but not enough, and continue to maneuver hard, angling back. That Tirpitz is now dead, which is good for me and my team. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start pushing up towards the C cap point. I'm in a position to take it, and the enemy team's not really in much of a position to defend it against me. Partly because their large gunned battleships are back behind some islands there. So if I can be sneaky, I can get up there, poke that cap, and then hopefully stay out of the line of sight and out of detectability, or at the very least, use the islands for cover. I have a friendly destroyer who's pushing up here with me, and with any luck, he'll lay me a smokescreen without me having to ask. But as I push up here, you'll notice that there's an enemy destroyer who's been spotted up at the B cap point. He's not alone up there. The other enemy destroyer is also gone up to the B cap point. And so both of them are there, and both of them are effectively spotting me as I push up around this island. This could be a serious problem for me because at North Carolina, well, he's out in the open. But he disappears behind that island, so I don't have to worry about him, but there's still the Yamato in the back, and there's still that Hindenburg to deal with as well. I go over to armor piercing yet again because I'm kind of hoping I can be able to get some massive hits onto that North Carolina. I get my ship turned here and angled against the North Carolina before he comes around that island. Get my torpedoes off on that side. He still manages to nail me, and that really does hurt a lot. Those are from the Yamato, of course. As North Carolina finally pushes up and around this island, angling my bow against him as best I can without over-angling. And he's firing his armor piercing. I do have my shots out there. His shots fall short, and I finish him off, all with over penetrations, surprisingly enough. Managed to secure the B cap point, help cap assist that, so my team is going to start gaining points. The only reason the enemy team at this point is still in this fight is, for the most part, due to the fact that they had 3 caps. Now, I'm firing armor piercing at the broadside of this Yamato, kind of hoping that I can penetrate him, but mostly I'm keeping the armor piercing loaded just because I don't want to switch over to the high explosive just yet. There is an aircraft carrier that's up here that I'm hoping to be able to nail. Now, I'm giving broadside again to this Yamato here as I come out from this island, and I know he's reloaded, so I know that they're going to be shots inbound. And yeah, sure enough, there they are. They don't quite manage to kill me as I sneak back behind this island here. So this turns out to be an excellent, gutsy move by me as it does work out. And I get pushed up here, and I get pushed up so that I'm perfectly in line to deal with the carrier. The carrier gets taken out by the friendly Tirpitz there, but I did manage to citadel him before he got taken out. Enemy Charles Martel is AFK, 100% AFK. He's only managed to shoot down 2 aircraft with automated anti-aircraft guns, but he's broadside onto me. And now I'm taking shots in here. These shots are actually from the Z46 there. So I'm going to start backing up again using that island for cover so that he can't continue to set me on fire anymore. Managed to finish off that Martel before the enemy CV, before the friendly CV can secure a kill on him. So that's a little bit of free damage, but hey, I'll take that free damage. Pop my repair ability so that I can start recovering some health. Finally get my damage control off cooldown so I can use that. I'm still being spotted. That's mostly due to the aircraft on the team. And now I have to deal with a destroyer up here who is most annoyingly managing to lob shots over this island. And is trying desperately to set me on fire, which I'm finding more and more frustrating than anything else. But his team, very, very much on the low end of the situation now, as he's really not got a lot left to deal with. Yeah, I'm a very low health cruiser, and yeah, it would be excellent if they could finish me off. It'd keep them in the game just this little bit longer. But my team is starting to capture or recapture the B cap point at this time in the battle, and we're way up on points. We're very close to that 1,000 mark. So at this point, all I have to do is survive just a few more minutes longer, and hell, if we can take out one more ship, we win automatically. So I'm going to go ahead and start lobbing shots down here at this Hindenburg, trying to get shots off at him, switching back and forth between the armor piercing and the high explosive. But every time I switch to the armor piercing, the Hindenburg changes directions. He's no longer broadside onto me, and every time I switch back to the high explosive, he decides to go back to broadside on. Still though, really angling my ship really well, trying to avoid the potential. Damage control is off cooldown, so if I get set on fire, I can pop that immediately, put that fire out, and survive. Again, really, I'm just looking to survive that little bit longer at this point, because this battle is pretty much over, no matter how you look at it, and my team is basically going to win. So the only question is, am I going to survive that little bit longer? Come on, almost. Don't quite get enough shots off there to finish off that Hindenburg, but yes, the game ends there with 157,000 damage done. Earned a devastating strike and a dreadnought. Devastating strike, of course, goes for basically 7 citadels on that Charles Martel, who was AFK. Managed to shoot down 10 aircraft in that battle, though, and somebody pointed out that I don't run the defensive AA consumable, and I don't really do that because I don't find it to be particularly useful in most of the battles I play, whereas the Hydro, a bit more effective for spotting sneaky destroyers coming around islands, since the Henri doesn't have a scout spotter aircraft. Top of the team for XP earned at just over 2,100 base XP there. A very respectable battle in the Henri, showing that you can survive and that you can use those islands as good cover and just cause us some significant problems paying attention to the target environment around you. Anyway, that's it for today's video, folks. If you liked the video, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and leave a comment down below. If you'd like to get semi-regular channel news and updates, you can do so by liking and following me on Facebook. If you'd like to help support me in the channel, I encourage you to do so by becoming my supporter on Patreon. Any contribution level definitely helps me. If you've got a replay like this one that you'd like to see featured on my channel, you can send it to my email. And if you'd like to watch me play World of Warships, among other games, live, you can do so by following me on Twitch. You can find the links for all of those in the video description down below. And as always, I'll see you next time. This is Captain Rye, signing off.